The moment they saw her, the crowds began to cheer. Prince Charles had been here before. This was her first visit, much publicized in advance, and bringing 5,000 people to Andrews Air Force Base to see her. America greeting her with a welcoming hug. Prince Charles said, "Don't worry, she's coming down the line." Among the crowds is one special fan, 16-year-old Jonathan Lawler, blind and dying of a brain tumor and about to achieve his greatest ambition. His gift, a record he'd made himself. In his Mississippi home, Jonathan keeps 40 instruments and plays them all. Fully aware of his short life expectancy, he's astonishingly good-humored.
We run around here like chickens with our heads cut off.
Nobody I would rather meet than her. So I said this would probably be my only chance, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it.
A short flight, and they were there.
I'm in Washington, D.C.
So they held hands.
I stood there holding her hand the whole time she was there. And I figured I just had to let her go, you know, she had to go on or I wouldn't. I'm still in orbit.
She went on. The blind boy left with his own picture of a beautiful princess firmly fixed in his mind. In the car park, an English picnic for American fans delighted to be here. But what did they think of the prince?
Distinguished. But we're more used to him. She's new on the scene.
She's a new kid on the block.
But it's not every new kid on the block who has the president's personal helicopter waiting to whisk her into town for her first date. Washington looked up, and yes, there she was, flying overhead on the way to the most important address in town. At the White House, 200 pressmen waited impatiently. The crowds pushed against the distant fence as the cavalcade drove in. The First Lady could hardly wait, but the President wore a curious tartan jacket. The Reagans are known to be very fond of the couple. Inside, it was to be morning coffee and biscuits in the English fashion. When those dreadful British burnt down the White House in 1814, the President moved here. And in that year, in this room, on that desk, King George's peace treaty was signed by President James Madison. The Treaty of Ghent is still the current peace treaty between England and the USA. The Princess, meanwhile, was at the Washington home to meet with some of the old people who live there. The home has strong links with the British Embassy. The Princess has a special interest in the care of the elderly and chose to come here as one of her first American engagements. And of course, it's not every day a young princess can meet a very old British lady who can tell her exactly what Queen Victoria was like on official visits. Tisha Whitty, 95, met Victoria when she was a little girl in England in the last century. A presentation afterwards went well, except for the presentation. The old lady forgot to hand the gift over, leaving the princess standing alone and empty-handed. "Go and get it," someone shouted. So she did. Back at the White House that night, all was ready for a formal dinner. President and First Lady rehearsing their moves inside the doorway. After the informality of morning coffee, this was a gala dinner as only the White House can provide. Immaculate Marine Guards on parade, the first couple standing outside on a cold night, eagerly greeting their British guests. The Princess in black, wearing an enormous choker of sapphire and pearls. It was an evening of high glamour, the largely show business guest list chosen by Mrs. Reagan. The First Lady of Jeans, Gloria Vanderbilt. a First Lady of Cosmetics, Estee Lauder, British artist David Hockney, from Hollywood, Tom Selleck of Magnum PI, and a trio of potential dancing partners for the princess, like ballet star Mikhail Baryshnikov. Clint Eastwood was asked about his dancing prowess.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. I'll let you know after the evening if I don't step on any toes.
Might John Travolta step forward?
She'd like me to.
She did.
One of the most marvelous things about coming to the United States is that you have this extraordinary gift for making people feel welcome, regain our
Mrs. Reagan was delighted,
strength.
but her guests
And all
were
that's
now
happened is
rather
we're suffering
tired.
terribly from jet lag. And I've yet to discover a foolproof method for actually getting one over the problems of this particular affliction.
Tired or not, they danced the night away. Washington Cathedral, the most English building in town, the couple here bright and early for morning service. The princess, wearing a kind of grounded flying saucer, was cheered by a large crowd waiting outside, some trying hard to catch her eye, others with the vain hope of an autograph. Security men joined the choir boys inside or sat self-consciously on their pews. Outside, security was, well, less intense. At the very modern National Gallery, they were to open an exhibition of British treasures. To do this, months of work had gone into transforming the stark buildings into a series of English period pieces, with false oak beams and granite lintels, falsely decorated doors, leaded lights and all the rest. The idea to create the perfect setting for the works of art. It was well worth it. By opening day, the cavernous modern halls had been transformed into elegant English rooms. It's the most important exhibition of its kind ever mounted, so valuable that both governments had to underwrite it. It was a history lesson for the princess.
So we got everything from the comic up to the moving border. And he was Calvert, was his family name, and that's Calvert Street.
It cost over $3 million just to mount the exhibition of priceless paintings and pieces of rare furniture. Or this giant silver wine cooler holding 10 gallons. And here's the great bed of Cork Abbey, silk and peacock feathers in perfect order after 300 years stored in a box in England. To create the Waterloo Gallery, giant wooden pillars had been pushed into place and carefully decorated to look like the real marble thing. It was uncanny. When they'd finished and put in a false ceiling and other decorations, it looked real. The prince admired Canova's Three Graces, a buxom trio in white marble loaned by the Marquis of Tavistock from Woburn Abbey. Head down, the princess was admiring an ornate desk. The prince finds just the right tiara to give her. At his first press conference, he wanted to talk about the exhibition. They wanted to ask about her.
Well, I'm not a glove puppet, so I can't answer for that, I'm afraid. But I think you enjoyed it, didn't you, Ronnie? Be an idiot if she didn't enjoy dancing with John Travolta, wouldn't she? How many of you managed to reply on behalf of your wives on these occasions? Then get beaten up afterwards for getting it wrong. Again, very much overwhelmed by the reaction. All right?
Outside, the saucer was definitely in trouble from a Washington autumn breeze. Despite her best efforts, it managed a brief flight before being brought firmly under control again. The royal home from home was the British Embassy.
Now, this is where the royal couple will be staying. This, as you see, this shuts off. It'll become almost a private apartment. And this is all done in Laura Ashley fabrics.
All was
Did you see
perfection,
this?
from the careful choice of china ornaments
very,
to the
yes,
selection of
yes,
books
she's
on the
in all
bedside
sorts
table.
and,
A choice of
greatly
works
grieved
by
when she
father
died recently.
or Jilly Cooper.
Oh yes, this picture of
On the wall in the
Montgomery
study,
during the war.
General Montgomery,
And
painted
it
by
was found
President
in London
Eisenhower,
by
an avid
Lord
Sunday painter,
Cranberg,
it
who
seems.
was the ambassador. And we're going to use the Minton and Wedgwood sets for the dinner. This is the Minton, which was designed, I think, for the coronation. It's very dramatic with the black coat of arms up there. And in here we have the silver vault. And you see the rest as well. That's a beautiful bowl. That will be in front of the Queen's portrait in the hall with flowers in it. So often silver gets put in the vault and you can't use it, but we really do use this the whole time. It's a wonder it hasn't been polished away. If there's anything left, I was polishing it.
The silver sparkled, the china was gleaming. The specially ordered pink roses were all in place, the chandeliers were alight. The table was laid, and it was time for the hosts to greet their guests at the British Embassy dinner. Prince and Princess came to the door to personally welcome the Vice President and Mrs. Bush. After the glamour of the White House dinner, political Washington had come to call. As the four posed on the steps, the flashbulbs were like a mini electrical storm. Outside, the limousines, those 20th century gentlemen's carriages, were backed into the road. They have no political power, but the powerful had all turned up nonetheless. Secretary of State Schultz and his wife, only too happy to join a long queue stretching up the stairs to dinner. Defense Secretary Weinberg, Security Advisor McFarlane, presidential hopefuls like Senator Bob Dole and his wife Elizabeth, and Senator Gary Hart.
Thank you.
And even at dinner, the Prince was still talking about the impact his wife was having on Washington.
To do business with the Soviet. When we were in the National Gallery this morning, a gentleman of the press asked me, I thought rather tactlessly really, why there was a bigger crowd outside the cathedral today than there was the last time I came here on my own. Well, the answer, of course, is that they all turned up to see my new clothes. And all the shoes and the shirts and the ties and things that my wife is credited with having equipped me over the last 4 years. From that point of view, my former self was a mere shadow of what you see now.
The Suburban Mall is the symbol of America's love affair with shopping. At this one in Virginia, 6,000 turned out to see the Prince and Princess tour a store and view a display of British goods. Pennies had bought $50 million worth for their 1,300 stores and were glad of the publicity as the security men walked the royal rolls towards the door. When they saw her, the crowds went wild. There was executives stepping forward to greet her. The distant cheering rewarded with another wave. The first customer wouldn't be buying anything, but the staff were still beside themselves with excitement. The Princess spent a lot of time at the jewellery counters and talked a lot about fashion. When she expressed a preference for double-breasted suits for women, the store directors frantically took notes. As one said later, if she likes it, people will buy it.
I'm tight on her. You want to go wide?
No.
Outside, the couple insisted on meeting at least some of the people who'd stood for hours waiting to see her. They pressed on, surrounded by worried security men. When the Prince tried to go back, a bodyguard said firmly, "No way, sir." But some were luckier than others. By royal command, a giant security man took a rose proffered by a weeping woman in the crowd. He marched over and handed it to another security man inside the royal car. And was the lady overwhelmed? She certainly was.
She fulfilled our dream. She grew up, married the prince. So that's what every little American girl thinks about.
The car drifted away even more slowly to give everyone time to look.
PCP, LSD, THC, mushrooms, hash oil, trash drugs, and some others that I can't remember right now. I've been doing drugs for 4 years, and I've been straight for 31 days. I'd like to talk about a time when I was with my druggy boyfriend and we were shooting up cocaine, and I felt really, really scared.
Not the usual royal venue as a teenager talks about her drug problem at the Straight Rehabilitation Center. Parents taking part as well.
And at that moment, I knew that he was going to die if I didn't help him, because he couldn't help himself. And I really, really want to beat this thing. And I love all of you.
Her son eventually came forward to hug her, the first step on the road to recovery.
I'm hurt. I'm scared. I've got more love now than I've ever had for you, Mom, and Tam. I'm not giving up, and I'll hang in there. I love you, Michelle.
But if you just hang in there with them, I know they'll make it. I know they will. And I know that we'll beat this. We have to.
Your Highness, I don't know how much jogging you or your husband may do, but I would like to give you 2 straight T-shirts. We had them at our marathon just recently, which was a fundraiser for the program, and I'd like to present them to you as a gift also. Miss Reagan, we have 2 for you and your husband also.
Once criticized for her lack of community involvement, Mrs. Reagan is now winning much praise for her anti-drug campaigning. She has successfully involved other First Ladies and personalities, this, her latest ally, receiving a fond farewell at the end of the visit. Monday afternoon at Arlington National Cemetery, Remembrance Day for the United States. Buried here are presidents and politicians, heroes of war and terrorist attack, and hundreds of ordinary soldiers. Prince Charles, in naval uniform, came to honor the dead of both countries by placing a wreath at the memorial. At his speech in the White House, the Prince had taken war and peace as a theme.
Our shared heritage in the struggle for democracy and freedom makes us only too aware that no true peace in this world can ever be obtained, I believe, while dictatorships of one kind or another exist.
Here again, large crowds had turned out to surround the cemetery to watch the Prince and Princess go by. The Princess escorted by the British Ambassador, Sir Oliver Wright, the couple pausing a moment to look back at the tomb. The Prince and Princess came south for a friendly polo match and a charity dinner. At Palm Beach Airport, the temperature was in the 80s, so it was a tropical look for the royals. As ever, a little flower girl was ready to put her weeks of training into practice. All went perfectly, but the little girl was so overwhelmed that she remained rooted to the spot long after they'd gone. For the walkabout among invited guests, the strictest of security. On the roof, a man with a radio and a machine gun stood guard.
His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales.
At the Palm Beach Polo Club, the Prince played for the home team. Last time he played here, he'd been affected by the heat, but today the breeze was cool the play Fast and Furious. Overhead, a security nightmare, a small aircraft buzzing the ground carrying an IRA banner. Then later, a personal message. No, she didn't call. The prince, busy below, had time to notice neither message. At half-time, they called out the crowd to stamp down the divots. Instead, 5,000 people stepped over each other in the rush to view the princess. The security men just gave up. Their screams brought a distant wave. Minnie Mouse waving back. The prince's team won by a single goal. He got a china horse and a kiss from his wife. The princess squeezing in between the players for a team photograph. A perfect end to this last public engagement of the tour. A posse of Miami policemen leading the party to a charity dinner in aid of United World Colleges, one of his favorite causes. The princess stunning in a shimmering dress of red. As people yelled complimentary remarks from across the drive, the prince managed to look graciously pleased. And there was Zsa Zsa Gabor, remarkable at 66. Joan Collins making her own regal entrance, complete with her brand new husband. Bob Hope provided the cabaret, Mrs. Hope in the audience. People had paid $5,000 a ticket to be here, $50,000 for a top table reception. Everyone and almost everything was on show.
Where is the British press?
This is Mrs. Celia
I'm before your time, I think.
They were determined to outshine each other.
Young community,
And wasn't it nice with all those cameras there?
is turning out in great order. We're all very, very happy you're all here. Thank you for coming. Welcome. I was previously a British actress in England and a singer, and the royal family possessed my latest album.
There were pearls and diamonds by the bucketful, heavyweight earrings dangling everywhere. And that monologue continued.
And we're very proud of the family coming here. It's wonderful. She's perfectly beautiful.
The princess spent much of her time at the dinner talking to oil billionaire Armand Hammer. He's a close friend of the prince, and he's personally funded a new college in America for the United World Colleges.
What I want to know is what actually is wrong with an elite, for God's sake. No one complains about elite troops. Or how on earth does anyone expect anything to get done in life unless there is some effort to educate people's characters as well as their minds?
The princess happy that for once on this tour, it was her husband sitting in the spotlight. The Union Jack flew atop the Breakers Hotel. The British had conquered Palm Beach. Tours in the next morning at Palm Beach Airport. Few visitors to the USA have seen so much in just 4 days. So many thank yous to give, so many memories of the people they'd met, and the enthusiastic welcome from the peoples of Washington and Florida. This long tour, which had started in Australia, was almost over. British royalty, with Americans reluctant to let them leave.